Hmm. So kind of getting back to the programs that you guys are doing with restaurants and with the meals, does AACC have like an emergency fund or something, or is there like how are the funds kind of raised for your current kind of community outreach efforts?
Well, we don't have I guess quote unquote emergency funds that we're using. We have our everyday operating funds.
Hmm.
We are one of the really good things about this organization. We are a 100% volunteer organization, so we have no staff. We really don't have any overhead. So all the money that we raise throughout the year goes back to our programming, whether it's our breakfast seminars, our after-hour seminars, programs that we do, like our big connections dinner, and then with the funds that we have on hand. And one of the things is we're not putting on our big connections dinner right now, so
Hmm.
we have earmarked. The board has done a great job in saying let's earmark some of this money that we have that and can go towards this. We're not running any programming right now. So we have monthly seminars and things like that do have some expense to them. So we're kind of funneling that money and taking the money that we would have spent on these programs over the last 2 months, and then really moving forward, maybe even next month, and we're devoting it to programs like this that can have immediate, direct effects on helping.
Hmm. Hmm. That's great. So another question I had was, besides kind of helping out with the Asian American like restaurants in St. Louis, I was also wondering if like the business activities of AACC's own members have been kind of impacted, and if that's kind of um, if AACC has been doing anything to kind of support its own members who may have businesses that have been really deeply affected by the current crisis.
Yeah, I think I think the short answer is yes. Everybody's business is affected,
Hmm.
and we have members who have not just business owners, but are work at small businesses, work in mid-sized businesses, as well as working in our large corporate partners around the city as well. And it's interesting as we reach out and talk to all of the different members. Everybody is affected in different ways. So one of the things that we're doing is we've started to put together resources that we share online, whether it's information for the small businesses on the payroll protection plan.
Hmm.
How do you get that? What are some of the links, and where would you go to get information about it? What are some of the resources that we could offer through other connections at our bank partners? If people don't know, so it's really being the connector and the information hub, so people can come to us and say, what do I do? Where do I start? And we can help point them in the right direction.
Hmm. Sounds Um, so kind of for the final question,
Mhm.
I was actually wondering, hoping to get your view on like how do you think this crisis is going to turn out, and what do you think that's going to mean for Asian American businesses in St. Louis, for the future, and like what kind of things do you think we can kind of learn from like the current crisis?
Oh, that's a big question. I don't know what the long term effects is going to be.
Hmm.
I think the next, as speaking as also as a small business owner, I think the next 30 to 45 days is going to be really telling. And if we can turn a corner and start opening up businesses, sooner rather than later, I think we as a country, as well as a community here, can make it through it. Obviously, like the longer it goes, the more devastating effect it's going to have, and I think permanent effect it's going to have on businesses that just can't weather the storm. Moving forward, what kind of lessons have we learned? I think it's as an organization, we need to make sure that we're um, always staying as connected as we can be, and probably more connected to
Hmm.
our small businesses, and being able to turn quicker on resources that they would need. It's easy. it's easy to kind of continue to operate as we have for the last couple of years, and we've done some really great things. But I think, once we get through this, we need to take a step back and say, okay, what have we learned from this, and how do we react faster? Just like every organization, just like the government is, I don't. Nobody could have predicted something of this size and scope, and I think we're still, we can debate whether we're in the beginning, whether we're in the middle, or we're starting to come out of it. Wherever we are, we're still in it.
Hmm.
So it's hard to kind of make those determinations while we're still trying to figure out and operate day to day. And that's why programs like the meal stuff is wonderful. Is we're just looking at the next couple weeks and saying, what do we need to do next? How do we continue to support people right now, because everybody's needs are so immediate. And then I think it's, every organization needs to take a step back and say, what do we need to do moving forward to make sure we're serving our members as effectively as we can.
Hmm. Is AACC still doing like, are boards still meeting? Are there still board meetings like over Zoom? And are you planning to do anything kind of AACC social related? I guess in lieu of the Connections dinner,
Yes,
virtually.
yeah, the board. So the board, we are still holding. We had our board meeting 2 weeks ago,
Hmm.
and we did it over Zoom. Like everybody's trying to figure out the new world of Zoom meetings. Uh,
Yeah.
and there is, there's the executive team continues to talk and interact. I say daily or every other day. We're a very tight knit group, and so we're there supporting each other as well. Because, as I said, we're all volunteer, and we're all in this together, and everybody's affected. So but yeah, we continue to try to figure that out as we go too. But we're in pretty close contact with everybody on the board making decisions. This program, the meal program, again, came up pretty quick. We've been evaluating a couple different ideas over the last week, and this came up and seemed like a really strong program to jump in. And so, I applaud everybody for on the board, as well as some of our members who have jumped in, and within I'd say about 2 or 3 hours, we got the approval to spend the money, via email, and we had plenty of people, volunteering to help and deliver the meals tomorrow, and all that stuff. So communication flow is pretty good. I still, while I think these are wonderful, and I think it would be much harder, 10 years ago when this technology wasn't available. But I look forward to getting back to being able to meet face to face, because I think nothing is as good as sitting in a room
Hmm.
with people, and having true brainstorming sessions and collaboration, as well as, the personal connection that we have with everybody. And we are still evaluating what our next true fit, maybe face to face, or activity is going to be with our membership. Like I said, I some of it is going to depend on how fast we open up. We want to be very cautious about, there's a fine line between when we can meet and when we should meet, and
Hmm.
when it is responsible to meet, and obviously the size of our events and things like that, we have to be very cautious about. And like I said, we're continuing to evaluate what our options are, in lieu of our traditional connections dinner, from doing it later in the year to changing it up for 1 year and doing something different.
Hmm.
We rely a lot on our members and our donors and our big corporate partners, and to be frank, this is a tough year for everybody. We're focusing a lot on the small businesses that are hit extremely hard by this. But in conversations with a lot of our larger corporate partners as well, everybody is really feeling it this year. So we have to make sure we're doing what's right, just for our small businesses, but also how do we work with our larger corporate partners, and what are we doing to help them and assist them, because everybody is affected.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting back to kind of what you were saying as well about like meeting people in person, I can definitely say from a like a student's perspective. It's really not the same kind of going to class online and all your friends are in these little boxes in the
Yeah.
in the top corner of your screen. But yeah, no, thank you so much, Mr. Violette, for all the time that you spent here, for agreeing to be interviewed. And also thank you so much for all that you've done so far for the Asian American community and for the business community. Um, and so, yeah, I hope that everything goes well, and look forward to kind of connecting in the future maybe, and talking more about
Yeah,
this.
and thank you so much for putting this together. And really, it's, you know, the things that we're doing as an organization are not about, yeah, you know, it's not about me. It's not about even our board. It's about the community, and that's what we
Mhm.
really focus on. And I'm lucky, and I feel, you know, honored to be part of just a very small part of this organization. And I think your question earlier about how we move forward long term was a really good one. And I think that's one of the things that we have to do to continue to serve our community, because we're all part of it. And what do we do long term to be more effective and serve our membership? So thank you for putting this together.
Thank you for joining me.
Okay, be safe.
You too.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.